Hello, Nyajong. My name is Mykou, and welcome to HmongBaby's History Maker series. If you don't know what the History Maker series is, let me tell you all about it. I'm sitting down with 3 Hmong women pioneers and exploring how they were able to reach their dreams with the hopes that their tips will also help you and your kids achieve your dreams as well. If you don't want to miss any of these interview videos, go ahead and go to HmongBaby.com/historymakers, and I will put one of these videos in your inbox each week. In conjunction with these video interviews, I am launching my book called Mykou Thao. And Mykou Thao features a whimsical and courageous Hmong girl named Ngao Lu. She reminds us that we are so much more capable than we even realize. In today's interview, we'll be talking with Officer Pam Vang of the Maplewood Police Department here in Minnesota. Officer Vang has been serving with the Maplewood Police Force since 2015, and she is one of the very first Hmong female police officers in Minnesota. Before she became a police officer, she studied criminology at the University of Minnesota Duluth. Her hope is to be able to encourage others to work hard and to pursue their dreams. I'm so excited to share with you Officer Vang's story and also her tips on how we as parents can help our kids pursue their dreams. Thank you so much for joining me today, Officer Pam. I have been so looking forward to this interview with you because there just aren't a lot of Hmong women officers, so I think this is going to be great to be able to share your story with parents and also to encourage their little girls and let them know that, you know what, whatever you want to be, like, go for it. But before we dig more into that, I would love it if you could just share a little bit about where you were born and raised.
I was born in St. Paul, Minnesota. I was raised in St. Paul as well. I'm from a family of 5 kids, my parents and grandparents, so I'm the second youngest.
5 kids?
Yep, 5 kids.
Oh, that's actually pretty small for a Hmong family.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so what was it like for you growing up in St. Paul? And also, was it just like St. Paul, like East St. Paul, or?
Mostly in the East St. Paul, yep. It was, it was normal for me, to grow up around Hmong people in the Hmong family. My parents actually farmed a lot, so then we spent a lot of summer and time farming and
waking up at 5 in the morning.
Yep.
Very cool. And then, did you go to what was the school that you went to then?
Oh, I went to Arlington High School, and then after that, went to the U of M up in Duluth.
Okay. So then, you went to college. Did you go to college?
Yep.
And what did you go for?
I went to school at the U of M in Duluth, and I studied criminology there. Okay. And then did law enforcement at another local college.
Okay. So then, when did you decide that, you wanted to be a police officer? Did you know that you always wanted to be?
No, it was always something interesting to me. But I think it was when I was in college, doing volunteer work and just being exposed to different career choices. And I just knew that was the one that I wanted to do.
Really cool. So then what did you want to be when you were little?
I wanted to be all kinds of things when I was little. I was one of those big dreamers where one day, I wanted to be a firefighter. I wanted to be a paramedic. I wanted to be, like an all-star sports player. So,
wow.
I had really big dreams.
So were you like pretty athletic then and
like doing
physical
played,
things?
Yep, for sure.
Very cool. And what did your parents want you to be when you grew up? Like, were they typical Asians?
typical Hmong parents. They want you to be the doctor or a teacher or something, a lawyer. So
yeah, and then I'm really curious. Like, what did your family and your friends think when you were like, I'm gonna go be a police officer?
Well, I think it was kind of hard to accept at first, and I think it was it was just like an idea that they thought probably came out of nowhere. They were expecting, but and they were, just like I think every family would be, they were worried and they were concerned about the, the dangers and risk of being a police officer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think especially like for like Hmong parents, you know, like expecting you to go and like, oh, be a doctor or at least work in an office, right? And then for you to be like, oh, I want to go be a police officer. It's just so different. And I could see my parents also really concerned. But looking back, like I like asking this question because I think that it's, you know, we can always look back at our childhood and we understand so much of who we were. So looking back as at yourself as a child, what is one word that you would use to kind of describe yourself as a child?
As a child, I would say I was ambitious. Like I said before, you know, I wanted to be everything I could be, something different every single day.
Yeah.
And even though like my parents wanted, you know, like doctors and lawyers, I felt like, you know, it was unlimited. I could be anything I wanted to be.
And did they encourage you in that? Like to kind of, you know?
You know, they always asked me to, you know, even though they always like, you know, had suggestions just like the typical parents do. They always asked me, you know, what I wanted to be when I grew up. And they always like listened to, you know, all my crazy dreams and different stories every day. So,
yeah. So then as a little, I don't know, I mean, I guess not even as a little girl, but did you just have anybody that you really looked up to who was really pouring into your life or any mentors that you had?
Any mentors? Well, I had two older sisters. And I looked up to them a lot, them and my mom and my grandma, a lot of the female in my life. You know, my sister's always taken care of me just like my parents would, and my grandma did too, you know, so I felt like I didn't have just one mom. I had 4 moms that took care of me. So,
that's so cool.
You know, and them being not much older than me either. So then I took that of the caring and, you know, nurturing and tried to pass that on to the younger ones.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a blessing. Something that is cool about being Hmong for most of us, like we have a family, a community, like it's a really communal culture. And I think that's something that is beautiful about the Hmong culture. But for you to be able to have sisters who are like, hey, like, you know, let's hang out, let's do stuff. I don't know, cause it can be the other way, right? Where it's like, oh, little brat. But, yeah, that's really cool. So then you said that you decided to become a police officer when you were in college. Was there like a time when you're like, you know what, that's it? Because I feel like you have to kind of make a decision, you know,
just kind of set your mind to it. I think it was going towards, you know, my last few years of college, and it was kind of like that deciding point where you want to go, where you see yourself. And I didn't want, you know, I didn't see myself in a regular like office job or anything like that. I liked helping people, and I wanted to go out and help people, and I felt like being a police officer gave me the opportunity to do so.
Yeah. So with your family not being super excited about you becoming a police officer, what were your thoughts at first? And how did you feel, and how did you still decide on becoming a police officer?
I think at first, you know, they might have thought it was just a phase, or I was just, maybe, you know, that was just something as temporary. But, you know, I had made that decision, and I think just showing them I was serious going through school with it, you know, going into jobs and careers that, were, you know, guided towards that career. I think they're very supportive, and I was kind of lucky too to know people. My brother-in-law is a police officer, and so they, you know, he was fully, you know, full on support. So, and then my sister came on board too, and
oh, really? Your sister as well? She's also a police officer? Or?
No, she's married to my brother-in-law.
Okay.
Yeah, she's married to my brother-in-law. So, but yeah, I mean, even she thought it was a crazy idea at first, but I think eventually when they realized I was serious about it, and there was nothing that was changing my mind about it. I mean, what can you do but just support your loved ones? So
yeah, so you just kept going. Yeah. So when I look back at my life, the most growth that happens for me is when I am faced with the most challenge, oftentimes. And so I am wondering for you, you know, like thinking about getting to your career, or even in your career, or just in life in general, what is a challenge that you faced, or a challenging period that you faced that really helped you get to where you are today?
I think it's just always asking yourself, you know, is this the right path for me? Is this, you know, am I, or because you always have, you know, the option of what what everybody else wants for you, you know,
right.
Of going into, you know, being a doctor or a teacher and all that. And just because it's almost like you're taking, you know, you're guiding your own, making your own path now. So just that, and it's kind of like going into the unknown.
Yeah.
So just doing that is almost like a challenge itself, because it's kind of like going where nobody's gone before. So
yeah, I think like going against like the current, and especially when your loved ones are telling you like, are you sure you should be doing that? Okay. Yeah. I feel like, if you want to do something with your life, I think that you will face opposition, right? No matter what. But for you to really know at the core of who you are, like, this is what I want to do. I think that is so cool that you have been able to do that. And you said you've been a police officer for 3 years now?
Yep, 3 years.
Okay. And you've enjoyed it?
I have. Yeah. Very different, so.
Yeah. What is one of the proudest moments of your life? Like one of the best achievements that you've experienced?
Well, it's definitely been going into this career. Like I said before, just deciding on a career path that's very different and unique from what is expected of us, and you know, just accomplishing that. And especially for something like this, you know, it's so rigorous and so extensive, like, you know, with the process of hiring, you know, to go through so many tests and so many interviews and so many, you know, questions and meeting people, and you know, tests just to make sure you're qualified too. So, and just to know that I went through all that, and I, you know, I can do it as somebody from a very different background from the typical candidate of a police officer to, you know, being a Hmong woman and feeling, you know, just kind of questioning yourself too, you know, am I enough? Am I going to be a good fit to be a police officer, because my background is a little bit different. So
yeah, what are some self-talk? What was some self-talk that you would tell yourself, like, to keep going, you know, because I'm assuming it's really challenging. My husband and I have a friend who is a police officer. He just, he's been doing it for, I think, 2 years now, but I remember the process that he was going through for that, and it was like rigorous, you know, like, because it's a mental thing, but it's also physical as well. So what was just, you know, what were some things that you would tell yourself to keep going, to be able to, you know, get through with it?
Yep. A lot of self-motivating, you know, I can do it, keep going. You know, you can do this. And, I think just, remembering what, your family and all your loved ones say, and just remembering their support, that really motivated me too.
Yeah. And was it also like, were there times when you were like, oh, I don't know, like, if I can do this? Or were you just like, I got this?
No, absolutely. I mean, even, you know, as a police officer, we get down sometimes, and you know, sometimes it feels like, you know, can I do this? Or you kind of self-doubt yourself, you know, and wonder if you're doing, you know, going down the right path. So,
yeah. You know, like I was saying before, I think that a lot of times the most growth happens when you're faced with challenge, you know, and it can be a good thing. But I remember in college, so I graduated with a music degree, and that's something that I'm really proud of, because I never had consistent music lessons or anything, and it was always just kind of like, you know, dabble here, dabble there. My family moved around a lot, so it was never consistent. But when I was in college, I was like, I'm going to do this because I love music, right? And it was so hard. I remember, you know, like crying every day at the practice rooms, because everybody had been, you know, they've been playing piano since they were 3. And I was like, oh shoot, now I'm just starting. But it was like one of the most challenging things. But like, I was really stubborn, and I stuck with it, and I graduated, and I'm just like, you know what? I had so much growth in that period. And so for you to say like, man, this is, you know, something that I'm so proud of. It's just, yeah, you have to face those challenges like head on, you know. So very, very cool. So I have another question for you, and this is, you know, since we are Hmong, and I want to just ask, what is 1 or 2 aspects of the Hmong culture that actually has helped shape you to be who you are today?
One aspect like I said before, my parents we grew up farming, so it's a lot of hard work. Like you said, we wake up really early. We're out in that farm field a lot, so we worked really hard as a family, it almost felt like a team that we worked together just to, get all the crops prepared for the next day. So it was a lot of hard work, and I think that taught me to work really hard, and that's something that I carried through my, college and working towards my career, just working really hard and, just going to, as many calls, trying to get as much experience and working as hard as I could, helping my partners out, and always just working hard. And I think that really paid off.
Yeah. Did you guys do farmers market at all, or was it just?
That's what it was for. So,
you guys are tough.
Yeah, so that's what it was for, and it was really busy. And but I think it was successful because we all worked so hard and we worked together. So
that is really cool. And I think there's just something beautiful about the Hmong culture, right? Like, the Hmong people are people who were in the mountains, and this is what they did their whole life, just touching earth. And there's something about that, going back to that and reminding us that, hey, like, life is simple, it's, and I think that, for us, it's easy to be like, oh, well, now we have iPhones and all these crazy things, technology is crazy. But, to remember that, like, we come from humble roots, and also that it was like really hard, for our parents to get here. I think that really helps us to be able to pursue our dreams, and not just to pursue it, but to like work hard, to accomplish those things. So like what you're saying, hard work, it's good. Yeah. Make your kids do work. So you work in a pretty intercultural space, like being a police officer, your coworkers, they're not all Hmong. I mean, now there are more Hmong police officers, but what is, or how can we celebrate our Hmong identity as we navigate an intercultural world? Like, how can we celebrate being Hmong even in that?
I think it's, for me, it's been, I enjoy too, just teaching others about our culture and welcoming them into our culture. And if they have a question about something that's related to a culture, I feel like they always know that I'd be more than happy to answer, and just being proud of it and holding on to your culture and just teaching others that don't know or aren't familiar with it about it too.
Yeah, I think that's great, because the truth is, like, we all have culture, no matter what race or ethnic group we are from. And I feel like that's something I've been really trying to do with my girls, and I want to continue to do that, like, as they have more friends, who are not Hmong, just to be like, hey, I'm going to bring some Hmong snacks over, right? Or, have friends, like my husband and I have our non-Hmong friends come over, and we make them like, and they eat and they're like, ooh, it's so good. And I'm like, yeah, this is like legit Hmong food, or like, And so I was like, so you get to share and celebrate that part of you. So yeah, very cool. Cause I think that's important as our kids continue to grow up, it's going to get just more diverse, and it's going to become more intercultural. And I think that we need to continue to embrace it and to share that. So I love that. Okay. So, looking at where you are today, what is one word that you would use to describe yourself?
One word I would use is happy. I'm very happy of how far I've come, like we talked about before earlier, all the challenges that we had to overcome and all the risks that I felt like I took, just to be a police officer and just to have my family support. I'm very happy for that too. I'm very grateful to have the support from, the Hmong community. Even, they've been very supportive too. I've heard every time I go out on the, on the streets in my uniform, everybody's always so happy to meet me, and I just feel so proud of being part of the Hmong community.
So you had mentioned the word risk. Like, I would love it if you could dig into that more, like, because I feel like if you want to do something significant with your life or to make a stand for something, you have to take risks to live a non-comfortable life. Like, explain what that looks like, or what it looked like for you.
I mean, the feeling itself is kind of scary to me too. It was
and I think that's scary. The thing, right? Fear, right? There's so many fears. Like, what if I can't do it?
Right.
Or
right. Or what if like my family doesn't want me to do it? Like what I distant myself from them, or what if I don't do well in this career, what if I don't fit in, or all those what ifs that you just ask yourself that you're just scared of, and it's just, what if it's easier just to go down the path that is expected of us. So just asking all those what ifs.
But you stuck with it, and here you are, and you're happy.
And you just have to ask yourself too, what if this is a great career for me? What if I do very well? What if I'm very good with as a police officer?
Yes, I love that. Okay, so then is there a favorite quote that you live by, or just something that you remind yourself of constantly to keep you going even when things get tough?
I can't remember the whole quote, but it's a Dr. Seuss quote, and it's just, nobody can be youer than you. And it's just,
I love that.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. It's just, to me, it just says, you're unique and nobody else can be like you. And like we go through so many, as a police officer, there's so many candidates, there's so many tests, and that you're unique because of the character of yourself, the morals that you have, the background that you have, and you kind of drive your own career. You make your own path of who you want to be. So
I always think that if all of us really tried to do what we loved and what we enjoyed, like the world would be such a happy place, right? Like what you're saying, like I'm happy, like I want that for everybody. And I think that's a big reason why I want to share these stories with people, because I think the truth is, if you truly pursue the dreams that you feel like you've been created to do, like you will be able to make impact. Like for you, like only you will be able to touch the lives that you do touch. Like nobody else will be able to do that. And I think that is why it's so important for us to chase after our dreams and to do the hard things and to take risks and to, face our fears. So cool that you are doing that. And I want to ask, what is an advice that you would give to a Hmong girl who is like really passionate, but she probably doesn't know what she wants to do yet? She's still young, but she's like a hard worker and all of that. What is an advice you would give to her?
I would say just don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself in what people expect from you. Don't limit yourself in what you see people as. Just have an open mind and don't limit yourself. You can be anything, you can try anything, and even if it's not the typical person that you see doing, so.
Yeah. No, I love that. And also, like, if you fail, right? Like you're saying, like, there's all these risks. Like, what if I'm a bad police officer? But then at least now that you're a bad police officer.
And just like you said, just trying it and failing at it, that's even a lesson that you can learn, or something that you can learn from.
Yeah, for sure. And then what is one thing that parents can instill in their kids to encourage them to dream big and to pursue those dreams?
I would say just work hard, and just keep trying, be persistent. It's a lot of hard work. I think when people realize that they want to, go down a career path, like you said too, going down the music path, you realize how many challenges there were. And I think people realize that it is hard to get to where you're at. And, some people, find it too hard and they just go down an easier road. And, the bigger the challenge, the more accomplished you'll feel afterwards. So.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Is there anything that you would like to suggest, or anything that you would like to share with my audience before we end?
I think it's really great what you're doing. I think holding on to the Hmong culture is very important, and just the Hmong language itself too. Be proud of it and share it with everybody.
Yeah, well, thank you again so much. I really appreciate it. You were saying before that, growing up, like, role models were your parents and your sisters, which is great. But I think, like, for us, like our generation, it's kind of sad that there weren't a lot of Hmong, like, not even Hmong, like just Asian women that we could look up to, like see on TV, or, we didn't have YouTube back then. But like now, like, we have people like you who are doing really cool things. And I just want our little girls to be like, you know what? She looks like me and she's doing something really cool. Like, I know I can do that too if I work hard. So thank you.
Thanks.